They made a boatload of money, a huge amount of money, and they invested it in wonderful things, like the stock market. Anybody else make those wise investments in the stock market? I made a few of those. I tried to learn not to. But the point is that the co-ops didn't sell their generating assets. They kept them. And they continue to have them. And that's what, when Central sells you electricity, it's their own generating plants through Allegheny that is coming back and serving you. But you have a choice. You have a choice to go buy from somebody else. Okay? So that's Central's role. They are providing you choice. Now, let's go to the third thing I want to talk about. Something that these people are depriving you of. And these people are the board of directors. And Matt Boschel, look at his face. He's saying, I can't believe we invited this guy. What is he going to say about us now, right? They never know what you're going to say when you go there. Well, what the situation is that, remember I told you that it goes both ways, customer choice? You can choose to go up to another generator, but that generator can decide whether or not to sell to you. And because of these people, there are no generators willing to come in and sell to you. None. Zero. Why? Because they're too cheap. Because they're keeping your rates too low. The problem is, the rates for generation that the Central consumers pay are lower than everywhere else in the state of Pennsylvania. And I'll show you that in a second. But the important point to realize is that when you say, well, why won't those generators come in anyway? Remember I told you the generators are owned by investors. There is one purpose for their existence and one purpose only. This is at the generation level, not the distribution level. It's to make money. It has nothing to do with customer service that Matt Boschel was up here telling you about. Nothing to do with customer service. It has nothing to do with scholarships in the community. It has to do with making money, and that's it. And if they can't make money, they're not going to serve you electricity. They're not going to sell it to you. Because they can take that same electricity and take it somewhere else and sell it to someone else for a significantly larger amount of money and make a profit. That sounds devious, but it's not. It's business. It's just business. And they're in business. So the reason people won't come in here and offer you a choice is because your rates are too low. Now, if I were sitting out there, I'd say to myself, yeah, prove it to me. We're going to look at a couple of slides, and this is very interesting. I just want to illustrate where the rates for Central Electric for generation stand against other rates for other companies. So if we can start with the slides. Here's the first slide. Who is PECO? PECO is the old Philadelphia Electric Company, who goes by PECO now. And what I have up here is the generation price. Everybody see that? You don't want me to point this in this direction. Okay, it's the generation price. We call it the price to compare. And this is just, remember Matt Boschel had a slide up here. I thought it was an excellent slide. The way he broke down the costs that Central has for all its pieces of operations. And 55% of that cost was for generation. You with me? 55% of your costs are for generation. So what this is, this 10.4 cents, would be that 55% of someone's cost. If you live down in the Philadelphia area, for your generation component, you're spending 10.4 cents. Don't tell me this stuff. There we go. 10.4 cents per kilowatt hour. Now, okay, let's look at another company. How about the next slide? This company is called PPL, Pennsylvania Power and Light. Their generation price is 8.8 cents. Interestingly enough, I'm a PPL customer. I live in Hershey, Pennsylvania. My local supplier is PPL. If I don't do anything, I pay them 8.8 cents per kilowatt hour for my generation. Now I'll tell you, I switched. I buy distribution service from PPL, but I won't buy generation service from PPL. And the reason is because I've got about 25 different companies that will offer me, or anybody that's a customer of PPL, the opportunity to buy from them. And in fact, I pay about 10% less, not quite 10%, about 8% less to the generation supplier that I buy from. I pay about 8.2 cents a kilowatt hour. So hey, I'm saving about 8% off that 8.8. Let's take a look at some other companies. The next slide, if you would. This is Met-Ed, Metropolitan Edison. They're kind of down in south central Pennsylvania. Their generation price is 8.2 cents, as you can see, a kilowatt hour. Now, Met-Ed is one of the family of First Energy companies. When I say that, you got to realize First. Anybody know who First Energy is? You know, there used to be Penelec and Met-Ed and Jersey Central and Penn Power and West Penn. They're all First Energy now. I mean, it's a rather giant conglomerate. But in any event, this is the generation price for Met-Ed. Let's go to the next company. West Penn. Many of you are familiar with West Penn. They're in the area here. Their price to compare for generation is 7.2 cents per kilowatt hour. Well, let's try the next company. Penelec. Penelec is at about 7 cents per kilowatt hour. So you can kind of see I've gone from the highest to the lowest in terms of generation price. And what happens is that these alternative generation providers, they come in and they're always trying to beat those prices. So if they think they can beat one of those prices, for example, in the PPL area, they can beat it. I'm getting 6% lower than that. That's pretty good. So let me ask you a question. If virtually all of these companies have alternative suppliers coming in, and Central has no alternative suppliers coming in, do you think that Central's price is going to be up here, or it's going to be down here? Anybody that thinks it's going to be up here, raise your hand. Yes, sir. That young man right there. And how old are you, sir? How old is it? He's 5. And you know what? Good for you. You participated, and thank you so much for raising your hand, because you're the only one in this room that raised your hand. All these other people should participate. But I will tell you, it isn't up here, and I think we need to give this fellow a central something or the other for participating. Thank you. How about flip up the last slide here? Here is Central's price to compare for generation. It's 6.7 cents a kilowatt hour. Now, you say, okay, what does that mean to me? First, you have to realize Central Electric has the lowest price of generation in the state of Pennsylvania. Oops. In the state of New Jersey. In the state of Maryland. In the state of New York. In the state of Virginia. In the state of Delaware. You getting the point here? Your generation price is pretty darn low. That's why you don't have other suppliers coming in, because they can't make any money selling to you. And again, it's their fault. Now remember, we always want to blame somebody for something, and they're the ones to blame because they're keeping